gorgeous! Hope you're having a great day. It's such a joy to see you. Today's video is all about drugstore makeup for the wedding guest. This has been a requested topic in the past that I wanted to delve into because we often talk about the bride, but not so much about the wedding guest. So if you're looking for a long-lasting, affordable makeup that will stay put, I've got a full face of options you are going to love. We'll start with the face. Moisturizer, all of that, it's good to have as a base. Lay it down first. Applying a moisturizer, and this also has an SPF in it, which will help protect the skin. This is from e.l.f. It's the Holy Hydration Face Cream, SPF 30. Now you shouldn't rely solely on your moisturizer and like products that have sunscreen in them for sunscreen protection. So I am going to be applying a sunscreen over the top of this. I'm using this one from Biore. This is their Watery Essence Aqua Rich SPF 50. This one goes on clear, plays really well underneath makeup, and you won't even know that it's there. Next, I'm going to add primers. Primers are going to keep everything intact. It's going to keep everything on your face, even if you're dealing with heat, humidity, whatever the case may be. So for the eyes, I'm using Milani's eyeshadow primer. And if you don't have eyeshadow primer on hand specifically, you can also use concealer, foundation. I would recommend setting either a concealer or a foundation with a translucent powder after applying them on your lids, and that will help increase the longevity of your eyeshadow. In terms of face primers, this one from Ulta, this is the Poreless Face Primer. I've had great success with this one. Not only does it minimize pores, but it also keeps everything intact. But in honor of another product that's coming out, it's coming back, I should say, that was re-established, is the e.l.f. Jelly Pop Dew Primer. This is another one of my favorites. It surprisingly plays really well on top of oily skin. This is a luminous primer. It does look beautiful on the skin. It's not overly dewy, and it wears extremely well, and it provides a lot of grip for makeup. So it's one that will hold your makeup on all day long. And I'm so excited to see that e.l.f. brought it back. Yes, I mean, it was such a successful product. I don't know why they ever discontinued it. I mean, we know why, but we don't like why. Money, hype, you know, that's the name of the game. Traditionally, you know, I always do my eyes first. But in this case, I'm going to be doing my face first because there's not a lot that I'm going to do with the eyes. This is going to be a very simplistic, more toned down kind of look. So for the base, I'm going to go with Revlon's Illuminance foundation. Now, this is a hydrating foundation. It provides medium coverage, so it is buildable. I don't apply too much of it. I like to sheer it out. And so I'll just use what I've applied here to apply to the rest of the face. The other foundations that I would highly recommend looking into for this type of occasion would be one from Catrice Cosmetics. The True Skin Hydrating Foundation is also another great one that will not move on you, does stay put, is waterproof, especially if you're like me and you cry at weddings. Oh, I can't help it. Another one that I would highly recommend if you're looking for light coverage, something that's not too heavy, is the Neutrogena Sensitive Skin Serum Foundation. That's one that's really good for spot conceal. So the way that I would do it would be apply a little bit of the foundation on the face and then use a facial concealer of some kind, something that's not really for under the eyes, and use it to just spot conceal spots that may be around the face. For the under eye area, I like to use a color corrector and a concealer for the best possible results to help hide all the signs that I'm not sleeping these days. Sleep deprivation is real. So I go with the Neutrogena Color Correcting Concealer. This is in the shade Light Peach, I believe. No, just Peach. And this does make a difference when you apply it underneath concealer. You don't need much of it. But if you struggle with dark circles, you will thank me. It's not one that you want to wear all by itself. You do need to apply concealer over the top of it. And if you have a deeper complexion, they also make one in Deep Peach. Over the top of that, I'm applying the Catrice Cosmetics True Skin High Cover Concealer. This is one of those long-lasting, super pigmented, so you don't need much when you're applying it. Waterproof concealers. So again, if you cry at weddings, you will thank me for this one because it will not move. It won't show tear marks. And for contour, I'm going to use the Milani Liquid Contour. This is one that does last all day. And I like that it's a cream product. It won't melt on you in the heat, which is also a plus. And it looks like skin, which is one of the reasons why I like it so much. Now, if you are a beginner and you haven't quite mastered the liquid contour concept yet, it's one that takes a little bit of practice. Don't try it before an event like this. Don't, just skip it. And go with something like a powder that's a little easier to apply. I would recommend this one from Milani. It's the Silky Matte Bronzing Powder. This is in the shade Sunlight. It's a matte powder, cool toned, looks beautiful as a sculpting powder. And it's one of those that's really easy to blend out in the event that you happen to apply a little bit too much. It's really beginner friendly. I always recommend applying your makeup in natural sunlight. Sit next to a window, not direct light, but indirect light that illuminates your face so you can see what your makeup will look like when you step outside. When you apply your makeup in the bathroom, sometimes those lights are yellow, they can distort things, and you can end up getting surprised when you walk outside. Been there, done that. Along with the cream contour, I'm using a cream blush. This is from LA Girl. It's one of their soft matte cream blushes. This is in the shade Rosebud. Again, if you're not comfortable with liquid makeup like this, stick with powders. They're really easy to apply. I would recommend looking at the powder blushes from Revlon, Wet n Wild, NYX. All of those brands make really excellent choices that are pigmented, that will last, they're not going to fade, and they look amazing. And if you apply a little bit too much, go back with your blending sponge or a brush and use that over the top to blend everything in. I'm gonna do my brows real quickly here because every time I apply powder before my brows, something funky happens, so we're just gonna not do that. I'm using this one from NYX. So this is a brow pen. This is the Lift and Snatch. What I like about these is that it gives you a defined hair-like strokes in your brows. It looks effortlessly natural. But again, this is one that you may need to practice with a little bit beforehand in the event that you're not comfortable with something like this, because trust me, it took me a while to get comfortable with this idea. Brow powders are some of the best ways to fill in your brows. Quick, easy, and they look effortless. And some of my favorites are from Joa. They make this amazing palette of brow powders. You can find these in CVS stores. And e.l.f. also has some amazing brow powders in their little bite-sized palette that are easy and quick to use. The NYX pencil I'm using, by the way, is in the shade Caramel. And all I do is I use a very light hand and rely more so on the pen to create the hair-like strokes for me. And you can see I'm not using much pressure. And there was someone in the comments recently, I forget who said this, they said that every time they do their brows, they spend 30 minutes on their brows and they never come out right. And I have to tell you, don't overthink it. That was one of my biggest problems when I started doing my brows, like really trying to do my brows. I found that if I spent more time on them, I would always mess them up. But once I realized, just move quick, move fast, and don't really think about it, just go. Then it clicked for me. I overthink a lot of things still though, so I'm kind of preaching to myself here. Now that that's done, I'm gonna go back and set the face. I'm using an old favorite, but it's still a really phenomenal product. That's the Catrice Cosmetics Prime and Fine Mattifying Waterproof Powder. Yes, you heard me right. This is waterproof. I actually tested this in the rain when I was pregnant years ago. Put a hands up emoji if you remember that video. If you do, God bless you. Thank you so much for being here as long as you have. Even if you're not using a waterproof concealer, foundation, whatever the case may be, this powder will make everything become waterproof. So it's definitely one to have on hand. It's so different doing my face first and my eyes last. I'm going to take a shade that matches my skin tone. This is Wet n Wild's Brulee. And I'm going to apply that on the brows. And this helps your eyeshadow glide onto your eyes better. If you do not have a shade that matches your skin tone, you can also use translucent powder for this step. And for the eyes today, I'm going to combine two palettes, Wet n Wild's Walking on Eggshells and e.l.f.'s Cream and Sugar. First, taking this shade as my base. If you have a deeper complexion, you'll want to use a deeper tan than what I'm using here. A smaller brush. I grabbed too big of a brush. We'll put this into the crease and blend it towards the brow. Use the bristles of a blank brush to go over the edges and blend out the harsh lines. If you're a beginner, focus on easy. Make it easy. If it's easier for you to apply eyeshadow all over the lid, and that's what works for you, do it. Whatever gives you confidence. That's my biggest thing, is you have to do what makes you feel confident. I'm going in with this shimmery shade from the e.l.f. palette. I'm going to apply that to the inner half of the lid. And I'm taking a little bit of this brown from the Wet n Wild palette, and I'm going to use that to blend on the outer half of the lid and blend it back into the crease. Two different ways you can do your eyeliner. You can do it with eyeshadow, which is what I traditionally do. I'll take a dark brown like this, apply it wet with a setting spray, and I'm good to go. Or you can apply it with an eyeliner. One of my most favorite eyeliners that I discovered recently comes from Sephora. This is their long-lasting kohl pencil, and this is in the shade, I think it's just deep brown. There you go. And the great thing about this is that it smudges real nicely. So if I apply this to the lash line, and the way I'm going to do this is only apply it to the outer 2/3 of the eye. I'm not going to go all the way in to the inner corner, and this will help to open up the eyes. Now if you don't want to use a brush, you can also use a Q-tip to smudge the eyeliner. And what this does is it helps to give the illusion of a thicker lash line, making your lashes look thicker. And you can see the difference from this eye to this eye. Next step, I'm going to curl my lashes. The lash curler I'm using here for reference is from Surratt Beauty. And I've raved about this one in the past, but the reason that I love it is because it's bigger than traditional eyelash curlers. It won't pinch. And it's excellent for those of you also who have big eyes that maybe your lashes don't all fit into those traditional eyelash curlers. Now if you struggle with the curl lasting in your lashes, I would recommend blasting your curler with a little bit of heat with a blow dryer and letting it cool down a little bit before curling. It acts like a curling iron on your lashes. And then always curl, and then always apply a waterproof mascara, because there's wax in a waterproof mascara that will help hold the curl in your lashes better. My favorite go-to waterproof mascara that I swear by is the CoverGirl Exhibitionist. So that's going to be the one that I'm using here. False eyelashes or no false eyelashes, it's completely up to you. If you do try false eyelashes, I would recommend practicing a few days before the wedding so that you're not doing it the day of, to make sure that you're comfortable doing it. I would also recommend looking at lashes that have a clear, thin band. They will be a lot easier to apply. The other thing that does make lash application easy, the Kiss Falscara kit. Now this is not sponsored. I have used these in the past. I really liked them, and they keep sending them to me, so thank you Kiss for sending them. But they also recently sent me these, which are no glue required little, what do you call these? Clusters. So these are pre-glued and they go on really easily. You just put them either underneath your natural lashes or on top. It's up to you. Come in 3 different styles. They have voluminous, spiky, and then natural. So I think I'm going to use the natural pair. So the idea here is to put them underneath, and I know it looks really like, oh, it's painful, but you can't feel it at all when you place them like that. And so that's with just 3 of the clusters applied. You can see it does provide an eye-opening effect to the eyes, and they're pretty simplistic to apply. Now for lips tend to wear off on me really quickly, especially at events. I don't sit there and babysit my lipstick, so I like something that is not only really easy to reapply, but something that's moisturizing and feels good on my lips. And I would highly recommend any of these from Neutrogena. These are the Moisture Smooth Color Sticks. This one is in the shade Almond Nude, and you can change the looks of it with lip liners also. It feels like a chapstick and a lipstick in one. And then to set everything and keep everything in place, one of my all-time favorites that is a dupe for the Urban Decay All-Nighter, but it's a lot cheaper, is from e.l.f. And that's the one in the blue bottle. It's the Stay All Day Blue Light Micro Setting Mist. I don't recommend the one in the green bottle because that pump clogs a lot. I don't know why, but the formula is really good. It's just got a really bad pump to it. I haven't had that problem with this one, thankfully. And one last tip that I'll share with you, if you have oily skin and you find that nothing stays on your face and you know that you're going to be at an outdoor wedding and you want to keep everything intact, I would recommend applying a setting spray after every facial application. So apply your concealer foundation, apply setting spray. Apply your contour blush, apply your setting spray. Apply your powder, apply your setting spray. So basically put your setting spray on after every layer on your face, and that will also help to keep everything intact. For all the products I used here today, everything will be listed and linked for you below in the description box. And I hope that you found this helpful, whether you are attending a wedding or you know someone who is, or maybe just wanted a simplistic everyday look, whatever the case may be. If you enjoyed today's tutorial, please give it a thumbs up. And if you would like, you're always welcome to subscribe. I'll get this out. For more videos like this in the future, I do a lot of drugstore makeup on this channel, and I'm always looking for ways to save money and sharing those savings with you and creating looks like this that look expensive but aren't expensive. So if you like that kind of videos, then I think that you really enjoy this channel. But thank you for being here, for taking the time to watch. I speak love, peace, and joy into you and into your home, and I look forward to seeing you again next time.